How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Star Citizen Racing Podcast. This time, for the first time, live on the XGR Twitch page. Apologize for that. Happy New Year, everyone. Is my audio coming through? Oh my god, that is so embarrassing. Yes, all the audio is coming through. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you guys were having a fantastic holiday. Once again, I am obviously joined by Dirk and Billboy. How have your guys' holidays been?
Really good. Went home, saw a lot of family. It was just a great time. It's nice to have a little break.
Yeah, had a pretty good holiday too. I didn't travel anywhere this year. I do have a young kid, so we tell everyone if you want to see the kid for Christmas, you got to come here. So I made a big turkey for the first time. That was a lot of fun. It was delicious. I did a good job. I think so, anyways.
Nice. So yeah, as we've said in the announcement and you can see in the title, we do have a guest, Echobit, coming in, joining us shortly. But before we get this episode of XGP looks off, different colors.
Speed.
Before we get into the guest section, we're just gonna do a quick review of what the racing scene has been like in 2024, right? So we can start off with the most recent thing that just happened. I think it was last week, which was the Aurora All Stars. Dirk, do you have any comments on that? While I said something.
Yeah. I mean, looked like a pretty fun event. I think unfortunately because of the having to reschedule it, there's a lot of people that couldn't go that wanted to go, but myself included, which is too bad. But those that did go, it looks like they had a good time. Liquid Prime did great. He had a great showing. He had second in the first race, the second race, and then he won the final to take first place overall, which was pretty good for him. Colbosa looked really good, had a really good showing, just unfortunately had a bad final race. Dude 3D had a really good return into the finals because the format of this race saw that if you didn't make it to the finals or you didn't qualify for the finals, there was a final amateur final, I think they called it, or pro-am or something like that you got to compete in, and if you won that, you got a last shot chance at the finals, and Dude 3D won that to get himself into the last chance finals. He's been having a really great year. We were looking at the last few races, or the races of the last year, and I looked at the results of like a really early one from 29.54, and he came in like a sixth place. Where I think if he did the same race now, he would have been on the podium. So he's been improving a lot this year. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, the racing was really close, and Imu Lockwood, to be honest, I'll personally haven't seen them race too much, but I was very impressed with their performance in this event. Really look forward to seeing more of them. Actually, I think the last time that I've raced with Imu was in the 3rd anniversary XGR race.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest, I don't really remember their standings from that race, but yeah, when I was seeing their performance here, to keep up with Liquid and Dude, and not just keep up, actually to actually compete with them, it's a pretty impressive performance.
Yeah, I think did Emu come third finally in the race? They qualified for the finals straight up. They didn't have to go through the amateur qualifier that Dude 3D did. So that's a really good showing by Emu.
I believe they came second overall, actually.
Second? Oh yeah. I didn't have
can prop up their the results right there.
Oh wow, yeah. Emu came ahead of Dude 3D. Nice.
Yeah, I believe in the very last final race there was Dude 3D crashed out on the penultimate lap, and then Emu crashed on I think just before starting the final lap, so it was just one DNF'd before the other kind of thing. So yeah, it was very close.
That counts.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's all about surviving, right? And yeah, Liquid had a very consistent Aurora All Stars overall. Just not really crashing, staying in his spot and qualifying all the way to the finals and winning it in the finals. And then, I mean, basically what it is you're the front. I think he was pole in the finals, or close to, and he got ahead right away, and forcing everyone else to have to fly, try to push it a little bit more to keep up or to pass him, and it ended up working out really well for him.
Yeah, his performance in the last race, specifically in the last race, was very, very good. He, as you said, he got the pole and then just breezed through the 10 laps. So very, very nice performance from him.
Yeah, I think the best
Pays
thing we
off.
even got out of that race, even though we didn't get a massive turnout, best thing that you're going to see is that there was good performance on the servers. It's a good sign for the future. It seemed like
It
they
did
had
look really
a
good.
pretty consistent racing without a lot of desync and into walls and stuff like that, or into other players. So that keeps up and it only improves as they start fixing this new patch. Might have some good racing coming up.
Yeah, I highly recommend checking out the VOD, watching the whole race, and
Oh
see
yeah, for sure.
how everyone did and the stuff that we missed. Because yeah, it's I think this next year of racing is going to be, if servers can hold, it's going to be really good. It's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely the performance of the servers have improved. I'll be completely honest, I haven't spent too much time in the 4.0 patch just yet because I've been away on holiday and I literally got back like 2 days ago. So I've just been spending the time back just preparing for this, honestly. So
Yeah.
I have yet to properly jump in and actually see what the new performance is like. But yeah, I believe the only person who was having issues was Ricky Tiki, I believe.
Hmm.
I was seeing in the during the VODs in the chats that he was saying the desync crash, like crashing in the open space, which is unfortunate because you know it sucks when your race is ruined by the server, not by your own performance, or even an accidental crash with someone. That's a kind of acceptable racing incidents and stuff. But when the server is being the issue, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, Globosa after the race said something in the XGR Discord about how he's pretty disappointed about some desync issues, and yeah, sometimes it'll hit some people harder. And I know Globosa, I believe he's Russian, or at least
Mm-hmm.
I think Eastern European, which I think so. The
ping and
sometimes you
stuff, yeah.
you can get bad luck on servers, and so if they they went with a US server, then I could see how you get sucks sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yep. And yeah, let's do a really quick review of what the 2954 in Star Citizen has been like, right? So if we go all the way back to like January and then push forward, I'm not going to go through all of the races, or we're not going to go through all of the races, but yeah, there's definitely been quite a variety of them. So obviously you have the big races from ANZIA and Atmo that are kind of staples every year, which is like Daymar Rally from Atmo, which is obviously going to return in 2 weeks. But we'll get to that in a sec. You also had the Crux Cups and the Scarlet Apexes, these big staples every year. Very, very awesome races. But we've also had quite a few exhibitions that are maybe not as common. So, for instance, I believe was the first one the Microtech proximity threat, was that one of the first races happening in January last year?
That was pretty early on, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a small series that Kale Star's been putting on. And I'm
Mhm.
assuming he's gonna keep doing that. But yeah, that's a very, very dependent on desync. We had some good servers back when he put it on. But yeah, it's very, very low flying exhibition race. Super close to the ground. So if desync is an issue, it's really hard to do those races. But when it works, they're really, really fun. So I hope that we see that as a mainstay in sort of the race lineup throughout the years.
list that I posted of the races, it's in reverse order. So I think the very first one that happened this year was Genesis Speedway
That's
exhibition,
true. Yeah, I didn't.
which was on Speedweed's track. Good track, great track.
I forgot about that because I didn't take part in it. So yeah, I believe I had the very first race I ever did, just as a quick thing. The very first race I've ever done on Star Citizen was last year's Aurora All Stars, and then I had the Luminalia race. Then from 2024, I started with the Prox threat. So yeah, Genesis Speedway was the very first one, which is a really awesome track. If you guys have not seen the Genesis Speedway track, check it out on scr.gg. It is a fantastic track. Speed did a fantastic job with creating that. It was so awesome to learn.
Yeah, we can go through the results of the races, but spoiler alert: every single one starts with one of two names, and one of those is Fresh.
Yeah.
He won He won a lot. It's either Fresh or Bulltalk, like Speedway. Sorry, Fresh won the Genesis Speedway race. Bulltalk won the proximity threat, which was the next one after
Mm-hmm.
that. But Fresh came second place, and then Billboy actually came third in that race. Our own podcast host here.
Yeah, I think
Um,
next year we're gonna have to start keeping stats and some numbers to keep track of these guys. Figure out who's getting the most points or something like that.
we keep track of Sangos Luna has um a Discord channel where we keep track of all the results and stuff, and we've got like everyone's wins as team members, which is pretty fun to look at. But yeah, no, this year is great. Like yeah, there's actually quite a few ship races. There was almost enough to do a race a month. There was a couple gaps that happened in the middle of the year around the summertime. I think there was a race in April, and then there wasn't another one until the mid to end of June. And then there was another gap there. But overall, it was really great. It was a really great year for racing.
Yeah, what is this year? We have 13 races that we did.
Yeah, about 13. Yeah, I mean, I think it
That the
might be
race.
12 ship races, I think is what you could probably call
Oh, it
it.
was one of these ground races. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those is a ground race on that list. And
Yeah,
that's
there
not
have
a
been a
full
few
list
ground
either.
races as well, but unfortunately the
hmm
turnouts for those are still quite low because yeah, I guess the ground vehicles are just a little bit too finicky right now with that to draw as big an audience as
Atmo
the
does
ship
good.
racing.
Atmos System 7 had a really good
Oh yeah, that's like the most
yeah, System
competitive
7.
thing you can get when it comes to ground racing, right? So
Yeah, and Daymar Rally as well. That they always have really
mhm.
good turnouts. System 7 was won by I don't know if Gerbo's team Punch Nomies, did they win this year or
I
came
think they came
second?
second. I
Yeah,
think there were some server
they were
issues in the
really
last race
close.
that yeah, I think going into the last race, first and second were super close.
Yeah.
Then there were some issues that just hindered them into getting the win on the last one. I might be mistaken. I'm not sure if they did enough to get the win, but I believe they ended up second. Um,
Yeah, I think they came second. But it was it was a great event. I liked watching the finals of System 7 for sure.
yeah, and I
The
think
only
it.
other like
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's only other one like really big race to talk about that happened this year, and I think that was the Sitcon and Enter Atmosphere race.
Oh yeah,
That was
Yeah,
huge.
hopefully that sets a new precedence for the sort of top end quality and budget and effort put into a race. We can just keep moving forward with that.
yeah. I think it's the
So it's a
first
good way to finish
hint.
off the year. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a very good hint of what Star Citizen esports could potentially be like if there is a bit more support in the racing scene, and I don't really mean as in give more assets and stuff for racing, but even if just Arena Commander had a spectator mode that works, for example, that already would have been just a massive step up, right? And I know that they've been working on it, but it's not really in the priority list, so who knows when it'll show up. Um, but yeah, I mean, Enter Atmosphere, as someone who was invited and participated in, it was a fantastic experience. Um, just the thrill of being on stage just makes the races, because at the end of the day, I was racing the same tracks that I race on my own, it's the same tracks that I race with my friends and stuff. But as soon as you just throw me on that stage and say you're playing for a trophy, just suddenly everything just changed. Like the focus levels changed, the way I started to think about how I'm gonna deal with it in Arena Commander changed, because Arena Commander at the end of the day, right, it's a very safe space. Like if you
Very good
crash there,
product.
you're not like, oh man, now I have to go all the way back and stuff. It's just when you crash, like, just go. But when you're in that kind of setting, you're just looking for any millimeter that you can squeeze in more time in, right? So it was crazy how just by being on that stage, um, this changes what Arena Commander felt like, right?
Yeah, I think it was an awesome way to end the year with a huge event like that.
Yeah, and I look forward
I loved
to
watching
what
it.
they actually have planned going forward. Because if they keep doing this
Yeah,
every year, and especially if they do, if they give it the same kind of focus that they do with the fight or flight, which obviously has been going on for a bit longer. Yeah, I think they can do some really great things with Sitcon.
what do you want to start talking about? What it looks like Atmo is going to be up to next with Daymar Rally coming up here?
Yeah.
It's going to
So
be Could be a very different event this year with the server sizes.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure how that's
yeah.
gonna look. It's gonna be kind of
Gonna
crazy,
be
I think.
crazy, man.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword, though, right? Because there's more player counts available, um, so you don't have to split so many groups, which I still think they're gonna do just to keep everything a bit more stable. But one of the biggest things, I'm not sure if this is going to be a hot topic or not, but one of the biggest things about having the 100 player counts before was fill it so griefers can't show up. But now with everything being, drastically larger, the sizes of the servers, I mean, it's basically anyone's game at this point, right? But,
I think the 100 player count servers was actually worked to like griefers' advantages because you couldn't get as much security there. And if you're already if like you're already looking at like, all right, we have to have like 40 or 50 people in just for racers and staff, just for the race itself, not even talking about security, and then you're trying to get another like 20 to 30 people to try to join in on security at the same time. I mean, A, it's really hard to convince people to do that job because they don't want to just sit there spamming join on friend. And then B, there's just not as much room to get more security in there because you have to. Security needs like a significant numerical advantage to keep things from getting messy, right? Like if you're talking about like a 5-on-5 kind of thing, then if you're trying to be a griefer and if you don't have to engage in the combat, you can kind of slip away in that kind of thing. Not quite the case if it's like 10 security to 5, whatever. And yeah, like I think that having these big servers too, I think you can have more people just on standby for sure. I mean, we'll see. I don't think from what I've seen, I don't think Atmo cares as much about trying to secure Daymar Rally. Like they kind of like that it's pretty messy and that people can come in and mess with everything. So
Chaos in there. I think they're happy with it being a
I
little
think
bit
they
chaotic.
actually openly
yeah,
invite the chaos.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like, and whether you like that or not, that's just part of their race and part of their how they consider it, right? So
Yeah, I hope we get some great visuals out of it with potentially hundreds of racers out on the whatever the deserts of Daymar for per server. They'll have tons of people, so it'll hopefully look amazing.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's gonna look like until we see it, I guess. But I have high hopes for it being pretty cool.
So just a quick one before we introduce Echo into the mix. What is your highlight of this year? Just a personal highlight, whether if it's a race you joined, a race you watched, or somebody you saw that were like, oh wow, this guy's gotta keep my eye on him, or her, or they.
Hmm.
You want to go first, Billboy? You got something?
I'm thinking about it.
I think for me, like my biggest highlight, it's not like a specific moment, but I'm really, really proud of how the Sanguis Luna team has performed this year overall. Jacqueline coming along, he's been doing great. Fresh has been killing it as usual. We've had Liquid Prime join up, who's also been doing great and has been really helpful. We've swept a couple events. There's been very few events where we don't have someone on the podium. Actually, I don't even know of the list that we have. I don't think there's even a single one of those where we don't have someone on the podium, which felt really cool. So that was really great
There's
year
one
overall for
race.
us. Is there a race that we didn't
Yeah, the
podium on?
carrier,
Oh
the carrier
yeah,
class in Scarlet Apex. We just couldn't get
yeah,
out of the
yeah.
hangar, but we don't talk
But
about that.
but even then, like there was how many? There was 4 classes in this year's Scarlet Apex, right? There was carrier,
Yeah, carrier,
frigate,
frigate, turret, and
turret,
duo.
and duo. And
We have a
we
podium in all
ended
of them
that.
except carrier.
Yeah, but we had 2 firsts and a second out of
Mm-hmm.
4 classes. I mean, so we still podiumed the race technically,
Technically, yeah.
just not the one class. So anyways, yeah, proud of that. Yeah, I mean, a specific one would have been the Ignition episode or Ignition Expo this year.
Which one?
Well, there's just the one, right? Just the Peregrine one. I think that was the
There
only one
was
this
also
year.
the X one and the Pulsar X. So.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't pay attention to other vehicles.
Graph bugs get no love, man. Graph bugs get no love.
Yeah, it's
We need more
it
grav
could be. It might be
bikes.
my thing.
Not more
It could
grav
be my
bikes,
thing.
actually. We need more grav bike races.
Yeah. But yeah, the Ignition Expo Peregrine one. Our team had a first, second, and third, which that felt pretty cool too.
I see Kayla Star in the chat
Yeah.
saying that Billboy, Fresh, and Bulldog during the proximity threat heats was so much fun watching them run each time. The Kaplan race
Yeah,
was
that was
also
crazy.
epic.
Yeah, that's actually what I was about to say as my highlight. I really enjoyed that prox that race. I didn't do a ton of practice for it, but I just went in and sent it, and it ended up being a ton of fun. It's a unique format for it, doing sort of a round robin style. We had, I don't know, 15 or 20 people there racing, but you only raced against 4 or 5 people at a time. So it made, and it was only a couple laps, like it was just one lap, I think, which
One lap.
made it super intense. So you had to make moves if you got any opportunity, and it made some pretty intense races. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
That was a ton of fun. If you haven't watched it, highly recommend. Go look up the VOD for the Proximity Threat Championship Series. Hopefully we'll have another one this year. I think one a year would be great. So we'll see if Kalestar finds a place that he likes to make a Proximity Threat track, then Sangos Luna will help run another race event like we did last year.
Hell yeah.
What about you, Jack? What was yours?
I mean, I think the obvious highlight was getting invited to the Enter Atmosphere event. I think that was like
Yeah, pretty
that
hard
was
not to.
insane. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing
don't
that like
that.
brings everything to perspective for me personally is that I've only been racing in Star Citizen for just over a year now, and I've technically only been playing Star Citizen for just over a year now, right? So I'm very new in compared to a lot of people, but I did come in wanting to specifically learn racing, and I guess aside from the getting invited into the Inter Atmosphere, it's just after the Luminalia race when Dirk approached me and he said, "Listen, I'm building a racing team. I'd like you to join me, and we'll train you up." And getting to fly alongside Fresh and being his teammate in almost every single team-based race. Yeah, I think I've pretty much been his teammate in every single team-based races that we've done, and I've learned so much from them. And being able to then eventually during the Gladiator come out with my very first solo win was, I think that was the highlight, even though it's like very early in the year. But yeah, that was when you kind of learn from the best. It's kind of hard not to progress in that way, right? And I guess I'm just happy that I've been able to progress in the way I have. So definitely that.
Yeah, it's been a good year for racing. A lot of growth, and a lot of growth left to happen in the new year. So
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've been noticing that the racing scene has actually been growing quite a bit. So
yeah.
as in like we're getting more people joining and interesting. I'd like to say have a hand in that. I'm kidding. But you know, I am making videos specifically tailored for new people to be able to get into it in a bit of a quicker pace, because there is quite a lot to take in when you think about how much there is to actually learn when you go from just generic flying in Star Citizen to actually racing. There's so much that we min-max in a way that a lot of people get overwhelmed. So yeah, what I've been trying to do is, I guess, just ease out that flow. But I think it's time we bring on our guest, is it not?
Yeah, I was gonna say I know someone else we can ask what their highlight was of the.
And I think it's
of the year.
fantastic segue. So how about we bring on Echobit? I am so sorry we kept you waiting, but hello, Echobit.
Hello, friends. It's Ketchup here.
Happy New Year, first of all. How have your holidays been?
Happy New Year! Very productive actually. I spent them all content creating and preparing for this year. It's been
Nice.
busy.
So we can start you out the same question that we were just answering. What was your highlight of the year?
My highlight of the year was Fresh dating all the heroes in Crux Cup and AX2. I didn't expect a Crux class to be beaten by a lower speed tier, but if anyone can, Fresh can. That was absolutely huge in terms of racing.
That was incredible. He pretty much performed a flawless race, right? He didn't crash, and he didn't have any refueling issues. It was just
Oh.
right?
Exactly.
He did great.
Yeah.
He did.
methodical.
Clean.
Is that's a first, eh? Is that of someone winning Crux Cup like as on like the totality from the non Acrux?
It was, yeah, it was unprecedented. I didn't expect it at all. So yeah, that remains as one of my core memories as out of last year.
Yeah, that was really cool to watch. I was a little disappointed in my results at Crux, but I was really happy with how really proud of how Fresh did.
Yeah, I unfortunately got the hangars weren't opening when I wanted to refuel, so I lost so much time. But I'm
Skill
still
issue.
very happy with skill issue, of course. Still very happy with my performance, so I can't complain at all.
Smithy tried to warn me about the fuel scoop issue, and I didn't fully test it in testing. I've already talked about it, and yeah, didn't end well for me, but that's okay. This next year, this Crux Cup, especially we'll talk about it in a bit, Echo, or maybe we can talk about it now or something. But the 24-hour Crux Cup sounds pretty exciting, so that's gonna be
Hell yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have a full team going there for sure. Jackatin, me, Fresh, Liquid. I think we're gonna have everyone. I think as many as you allow on one team. We'll fill it up completely.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a very good point to segue, I guess, into one of the questions that we have for you is ANZIA has a well, most of, if not all of the races that ANZIA hosts are team-based, right? So you sign up as a team, and you have even as low as 2 people in the team, right? So is it in your plan, or what is ANZIA's vision for team-based racing within Star Citizen? Like, what drives you to create races for teams, not for the individual racer?
So this began when Jez and I got addicted to iRacing and 24-hour endurance racing, which we still do today. We just completed 24-hour Nürburgring with the Aries racing team for Australia, and got third there, so that was really fun. And we just took the experience we learned there and all of the tournament knowledge we built up and how those races are run, and decided we need to translate that for Star Citizen, because Star Citizen will be a persistent universe where you can have an endurance race like that. And, you know, it's just something that we want to coin as ship endurance racing. Like, we want to be the best at it to make sure we have really good regulations and a really big team environment where you can bring multiple friends together, your organization, and fly your banner and be represented in the Star Citizen community.
Awesome, yeah. Question branching off it a little bit, because I know that you guys originally started doing the Crux Cup in AC, and then eventually moved it to the PU. I wasn't around when it first came to the PU. What was the process like, and what was the how'd you make that decision to transition Crux Cup into the PU, and what was that like that first year?
Yeah, so actually, I came in late to the Crux Cup, and when it was filmed, there it was made in 2015 by Gentleman Chairs and Algrid, and actually, like Brett W, another one of the leaders of Southern Cross Alliance and Ugly Duck, they were racers. They were racing for our team. So the very first one didn't have me at all. I backed in 2016, so it had run for 2 years, 2015, 2016, and I came in late 2016. But I was pretty skeptical of Star Citizen to begin with. But when I did come in, I knew exactly where I wanted to be, who I wanted to make friends with, and immediately asked, can I volunteer to, help run your Crux Cup event, because I've been following it and following your guys' racing progress, and I want to take it further. I think we can go bigger and better. So yeah, it started off as zero-G racing. We didn't have atmosphere. All of the circuits we have today now have atmosphere and gravity. So everyone was taught to fly in 0G. We were just tricking ourselves into thinking we're flying in atmosphere, that really we were training 0G all of that time. And it was AC for all the way up to 2021. And we got into iRacing about a couple of years before. So beginning of the pandemic, we really got into it. And then we're like, how can we translate this into Star Citizen? And 2022, we'd figured out and prototyped a few racetracks, like around Port Olisar. We ran some internally at Southern Cross Alliance. And then just did like a unlisted Cracks Cup race just to see how it was like. Also like heavy class as well was tested with a Starfarer race there. Those were some fond memories. And then Orison was released. Crusader finally became a proper gas giant. And I scouted it and looked for potential race locations, and the industrial platform stood out to me. And I tried many things like cooking residential buildings and all of the other buildings and structures in Orison, but nothing could truly beat what we needed to do large-scale multiplayer racing, which is the 4 large industrial platforms of Orison. So we made that a racetrack to host 40 or more races going at the same time. So yeah, we had always wanted to move into the PE, and we also want to do longer endurance races. So it was sort of a ramp-up process of what is the game capable of now, what's going to be fun for everyone, and you know, can the technology and the player base support it? So yeah, that's the full story.
Awesome.
So did the Heing actually spawn from Crusader first coming in, or is that more of a recent development? Because that's a track that you made with ANZIA,
our
right?
Our very first persistent universe race in 2022 was the Heing, and that's when Crusader was added to the game. And that was with that was the first time I also met XGR, and they were starting up as a racing community, and we hit it off really well, and I invited them over. Black Maze won the first persistent UMS Crux Cup with Data Machine. They also figured out and laid the foundation for a lot of the racing techniques we know today. Like flying Herald sideways can be more optimal. They also figured out that deploying landing gear had the anti-gravity resisting properties, so the thrusters didn't have to work as hard. They also were pioneers of the ship nose to TVI smooth turning. They brought incredible knowledge to racing, and something we'd never seen before in the previous like AC Hux Cup tournaments. Yeah, like as soon as XGR joined, they really took racing to the next level, and now we all live off their knowledge and their skills. So yeah, endurance racing has been my favorite kind of racing, and I don't think there's been any cities that have been added other than Lawville, which have really enabled us to build such incredibly large-scale ship racing competitions that I'm always looking, and we're going back to the Heing this year. But there will be some changes, like I can say OpenGP, ProGP will be doing a reverse figure 8 circuit, which I hope you'll find more interesting. And the 24-hour has a mix-up of the classic track. So, I mean, it's the same kind of classic track and direction, but we've moved the pits, and we have really doubled down on like the customization of the track to make it suitable for large-scale team-based racing over 24 hours.
So we're getting a bit of an insider scoop before the actual announcement here.
You are. So it's releasing tomorrow, all of this information and the video as well. All the guides are ready, the video is ready to go. And I'm happy to talk about those events if you have any questions about them too.
ask you soon about what's coming up for this year and stuff like that. I did wanna. Was it ANZIA when it started with Crux, or did you like create ANZIA? How did that work?
Yeah, so Crux Cup was originally run purely by Southern Cross Alliance, my organisation. And then we decided we need to form a committee to invite other organisations that are interested in sanctioning events and racetracks. So just like the FIA in real life, we decided to form a committee of our own of citizen organisations, and we invited American EU Frontier Consolidated and Australian ally Hyperion Vanguard Corporation to that committee, and some content creator guests as well, to say, we want to sanction these events and tracks. You are the most interested in the future of Cuxkill and the future of our racing events. Let's call it ANZIA Racing for now. The name could change or the committee can change. So right now I'm its presiding officer, and we are the ones that get together every year, and we have an AGM where we talk about the events that we want to do next year and vote on them, and then also vote on what tracks we want to build and create for next year as well. It really helps with perspective of what the wider community wants when you have an international perspective as well, like Frontier, Tintin Noise, and Loud Guns add immense value and perspective as to what's going to work next year, and they absolutely love running racing events together. So yeah, it needed to go to the organisation scale, just like our races are as well. So leadership organisation scale, alliance scale, and same with our races who are supporting multiple orgs.
Cool. It's funny how often you'll be like, we'll just call it the ANZIA, and the name could change, but this seems like this will work, and then it sticks for how many years? 5, 10 years? Yeah.
Yep. We've actually talked about changing the name, or maybe making it less about Australia and New Zealand. It may happen, but it may also just end up sticking like it does. I'm happy either way. But
It is a catchy
right
name,
now,
so.
they're happy. Oh, thank you.
Honestly,
Maybe it
it
will
never
stick then
clicked
if you
with
guys
me.
like it.
Yeah, it's a great name. It never clicked with me that it was even an acronym until you just mentioned that it's Australia News, and I was like, oh, yeah. All of a sudden, that makes sense.
Yep, it's the Australia New Zealand Intergalactic Aerospace Racing Committee. And we just
Nice.
drop the committee part when we're talking about us as an alliance.
Yeah, that's cool.
So would you
If
say
you
that
guys-
the biggest sorry, but I was gonna
No,
say,
you
like,
go
if would you say that the biggest turning point for ANZIA being pushing as like a top, I guess, racing community when or with from the 2022 Crux Cup? Because before you mentioned that you didn't have the Atmo tracks, and would you say that 2022 was the biggest push for ANZIA to be what it is now?
Yes. That was sort of my turning point, where I went from just a simple volunteer of bracket tournaments in AC, where Jez and I had to sit down. We were the two responsible for figuring out the initial version of the technical regulations for insurance racing. We're like, okay, so this is how it works in iRacing. The game handles like a lot of this, but we need to bring in players to handle those mechanics instead. What kind of rules do we need to support that? We need checkpoint officers, we need race timers, and we need an app to support that as well. We need live stream production, we need commentators as well, and race director, of course, to direct everyone, flag systems, all of that was figured out by Jez and I, just sitting down for like 3 months being like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna release the people we need? And also experimenting in Southern Cross Alliance with like, how many officers is too many, how many event staff is too little, what is the optimal way to run a community event like this where the game doesn't necessarily support mechanics that we have to keep the race. We want to keep the race as fair and organized as possible.
You see, as we're moving into 4.0 and obviously the way servers work and the amount of players we can have on a server changing, is that gonna affect how you guys run races, or are you gonna try and push for races that leverage that new size of servers and stuff?
We'll absolutely use the server machine technology. I've got some plans for it later in the year. Unannounced events will use that technology more. Quickscope, probably a 24-hour race. We'll utilize up to 60 races plus 40 event staff. So, I mean, we're hitting 100 there, but any more that come are just an added bonus. So, yeah, we'll push all the way up to 500 if we can.
Should we take a look then at your at the schedule coming up and see these events that you got coming up for this year? Because there's a pretty full schedule. This might be the most full ANZIA schedule that we've had so far, right?
Yeah, so just the first quarter is announced. We are going to have some major changes to the ANZIA roster. So last year, a lot of events were tailored around the 100-player server cap, but like I said, am I going to use 4.0's technology? Of course. So some new events will come. And also, like, because we have custom lobbies now and Arena Commander, we also have a new tournament app that I've developed that supports bracket racing very well. And is also self-run by the community. Its first test happened in Sim Cup last year, but we're bringing it back for a sim racing league, which was originally Dank's idea, and Dank might remember that you met with the ANZIA Racing Committee, with Chinch and I, and I think Jez as well. We talked about this idea of a league where you could participate in maybe 6 or 9 different events throughout the year, and accumulate points and start to build up your racing career. We are doing that. So the beginning of this year, now that we have a tournament app that can support bracket racing really well, we're going really hard on AC and using those custom lobbies, getting as much racing done as possible. So at the moment, we're committing to 6 events for the Sim Racing League, where you can come. That's open to anyone. Even if you're a beginner, there will be a racing class for you. And you can practice amongst the racing community and start making a name for yourself. And at the end of the year, we'll tally up all the points and announce the overall winner of this league. So you can look forward to that from an Arena Commander point of view. And then later in the year, in March, we've got Crux Cup. This is, like the boys have said, a staple race for ANZIA Racing. It's our 10th year of doing this. So we've been doing this since 2015. I've been doing it for 8 years. But yeah, Jez has been doing it for 10. But we're going to highlight that it's our 10th year. We're going to go very big for this one. So we're going back to our classic racetrack, the Ahumahi Ring. We're going to have a track day. There'll be qualifiers. There'll be the Open GP, the Pro GP, the Luxury GP as well. So all of our classic staple endurance races are there to celebrate the event. And then finally, at the end of March, we're doing something completely new. And this is something Jez and I have been working towards. And I think everyone has sort of got this idea that, we've always wanted to do this 24-hour race because we've done it in iRacing. We want to bring that to Star Citizen now too. And we know how to do it. We've got the regulations for it. We've got the technology for it, so 4.0 will help out a lot to make it easier for us with the dedicated game servers to Orison that's going to be so much better, and we can finally ramp up the scale of racing teams and the duration of our races too. So we think by March, the devs will have had time to stabilize server meshing, and then from there it'll be patch 4.1, which is more focused on content like engineering and gameplay mechanics, so they can make things even more interesting.
It's gonna be really exciting. The 24 hours is gonna be fun. I don't know how much you can talk like about specifics. Do you have? Actually, I should say quickly for anyone who's not totally familiar with Crux Cup, because there might be some people watching who don't exactly know what we're talking about. It is an endurance race where the goal is to complete as many laps as possible. So the winner at the end of the 24 hours is whichever is most likely, I assume, whichever team completes the most laps.
Yep, Decals are
And-
completely okay. Like, they're coming out tomorrow, so I'm happy to talk about all the specifics if you have questions.
Sweet. What are the team sizes? Do you have like, are you splitting it up pilots, support crew, or is it like everyone can do any role,
Same.
you're part of the team?
Exactly, any role. Say, we like flexibility. We're not going to limit you as to, how many of this X and Y you can bring. So 6 is the current set amount that you can sign up, and there can be anything from a race pilot, backup pilot, a support tech crew member. Yeah, you can decide what they be, or always 3 at once, dynamically throughout the race. So we're setting 6 so that you have plenty of players that you can juggle over the 24 hours, and we'll ask you to bring at least 2 of those so that you have an active racer in the field. It will just be a single racer in the field, but with a backup ready to go in case they crash in-game or to desktop, and then they can launch straight away. We're gonna streamline a lot of things, a lot of problems Crux Cup has had in the past, like use of the hangars, that they will become a secondary pit stop in this race, and we are instead going to ask these 24-hour racing teams to do full ship replacements. So, their team will be expected to bring out and assigned a platform beam on Milford, which is plenty of space to bring out spare ships, FPS gear, components, anything you need. But full ship replacements will be the way that you refuel and do tag team swaps in the race, so that you don't have to deal with the hangars right now, which often let us down. So yeah, we're trying to streamline a lot of stuff like that to make it a more fun and enjoyable experience for you.
So it's a 24-hour race. In other parts of Crux, you have multiple classes. Are you gonna have multiple classes for this one, or are you planning just one big class, everyone's flying the same ship?
So, it's one big class, but there's a catch.
Okay.
You have to pick 4 unique chassis. So there are 6 ships you can pick from, which are all the dedicated racing ships. But the same chassis are mutually exclusive. So like, you can't have 2 Razors. You have to choose between the Razor or the Razor LX, or the P72 is the Emerald or the base version, or the Gamma and Omega, for example. But the M50 is there, 350R is there. The Peregrine's there if it can become available for AUSC. So you pick 4 unique chassis that you've got to race, and they will be force swapped at a 6-hour interval. So you have to race 4 unique ships throughout the 24-hour on your racing team. And what order they're racing, that's completely up to you. I'm providing a brand new stat page, which will say all of the benefits of these ships. So it's not just speed, but it's their hydrogen tank, it's their mass, it's their hydrogen efficiency. I'm currently doing a lot of ship testing right now to determine the flight time of these things at Orison. So you'll get all of that from this guide and our updated stat sheet information. And you get to decide whether you start strong or you take it easy and ramp up the speed and have a dramatic finish at the end. That is completely up to you. I am looking forward to hearing about all of your strategies and creative thoughts on this.
Which strategy?
it sounds-
Billboy, you guys gonna go? Blackstar, you guys gonna have a team?
We'll see. I mean, yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a massive event. I'm sure that we'll get some guys together to
Nice.
do it. Once we get 4.0 out, I think a lot of guys are going to come back once it stabilizes, and yeah, I'm sure we'll get a team together. It sounds like that'll be a really cool format to allow for some exciting racing, because you'll get a lot of overtakes when you're getting different speed ships on the track at the same time, and if they're actually racing against each other and not in different classes, it'll make those overtakes even more exciting. So that sounds really cool.
Yeah, certainly makes
Yeah,
strategy
and
interesting too.
And one other thing I want to say is it's been highly requested. Like I think you said, can we have this? Steve said, can we have this? Luigi wanted this as well. When we do a race like this, like the 24-hour, it's commonly asked, can we do the Le Mans Classic standing start, where you start outside of your ship and run to your ship, turn it on, and then fly off? Yes, we're going to do that. It was banned in the current Le Mans. I mean, they do it ceremonially, but they do a rolling start like at normal endurance races. But this is Star Citizen. This is a video game, and the beams on your Milford are there's so much space in our racing game, so chances of it being dangerous are very low. So we'll absolutely do a classic Le Mans start for this. And you know, I'm really keen to see racers figure out scientifically which ship is fastest to enter, because they all have different entry animations. So have fun figuring that out.
That's true. Yeah, that's cool.
The interior. Don't do the 350R.
Yeah.
Don't do the 350R.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe if you leave the door open and you run up and get into it, it actually. I don't know. Hang on a second.
Yeah, you have to try it out.
I think objectively the Razor will be the fastest one to get in, right? Because
Yeah, I don't know.
it's between the
50,
Pretty fast to
Razor
get in there.
or the Krugers, but I believe the Krugers have a performance detriment when the landing gear's down because the wings get folded, or is that just for the arrow?
I think it's just for the arrow.
It's just arrow, right? Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely be
but this-
timing it, trying to figure out the best one.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I love this. I'm
Yeah, that
excited
sounds
to do it.
absolutely
Yeah, there's a
amazing.
lot of my SO24, a lot of stuff that we wanted to do for a long time. We can finally do it. Now that 4.0's come online, we've got this technology and we've got this community as well. Like, it's not just you guys, it's our content creators, it's our viewers, it's the organizations that come together that we've built up for all of these years have enabled us to say, yeah, we probably have enough staff and we probably have enough racing teams. Probably have enough support to actually do something like this. So thank you for getting excited and coming to these events so that we can run a dream race like this. It really feels like it's going to be the ultimate stage for ship endurance racing, and I'd love to do it more.
Yeah, I do have to put out a little warning for anyone who's looking to get into this that hasn't done endurance racing before. You'd be very surprised how sore and strenuous it is after just an hour. This is 24
This is
hours.
24.
If you get into this, unless you're a very experienced racer, I highly recommend trying to find a team of like 4 or more, and be prepared that don't get yourself hurt. There's a very well-known racer in our community, Splen, who's been injured for his last race was more than a year ago now. He's probably one of the fastest pilots in the verse, but he's been injured off of what is it called? An MSI, musculoskeletal injury, basically, which is like just repeated strain. So don't. Anyways, very exciting race. I'm very excited
Don't
for it.
do
I can't
that.
wait to do it.
And
But be careful.
speaking of gamer health, we do have race seat limits, race seat time limits. So the maximum you can spend in a ship at one time is 3 hours, and we won't have there'll be a forced pit stop there and penalties if you go beyond 3 hours, and we won't have a minimum seat time check, but we have put in our guide that while we don't have a minimum seat time check, we will be looking for people that try and optimize this too much by, putting another racer on for 1 or 2 laps and then letting a previous 3-hour pass and go for another 3 hours. We will start warning them and issuing penalties if they don't in the spirit of fairness and balance, give all of their racing team members a chance to be in this race and like really enjoy it. So, while we don't have a very strict rule like 3 hours maximum before we say there's a forced pit and penalties, we will be watching out and hoping that you will give everyone fair seat time in this race.
I'm happy to hear that.
Just gonna mention something real quick. Just a small little thing that just came to mind. Can you imagine if CIG actually implement the org decals before this event? Like, bruh.
That'd be cool.
Oh my god, dude! I am so. I think that was like one of the most things I was looking forward to. Like, if you just put Crux Cup and you just put all these teams, and as you said during the 24 hours specifically, because like the Crux Cup having so many different divisions, it's everyone can find his jam. But this 24-hour one specifically it's basically asking the tryhards come in, So like not only just having the people who really want to go for it, but also properly representing their orgs on their ship.
Yeah.
Oh man, I am so looking forward to that.
Be nice if our team colors were just white and blue, because XGR seems to keep getting Christmas
Yeah,
skins.
the icebreak,
No,
the
XGR
icebreak skins is like the perfect thing for them. So
XGR is gonna have their own skins. I hope they have a team. I really hope. I hope at this 24 hours. Oh, are you gonna allow multiple teams from a single org, or how are you gonna? What's your plan for that? Or does it not matter? I guess it's just as many people as we can get in.
We have very limited slots. So on the opening, because of the limit on the Norfolk Industrial Platform theme, 6 players per team, we're going to allow only 10 teams to sign up. So you will have to be unique orgs or unique groups that are collaborating together. 10 will fill up, I imagine, pretty fast. So I'll make sure, I DM you to say sign up as soon as you can. But tomorrow won't be sign up day. Tomorrow will be race announcement guide release to get you thinking about who you want to race with, which organizations you want to join, team up with, or anything like that. Sign-ups will be end of January. So once you had a chance to absorb all this information, and we've done some sim racing league, and maybe you've met some people in the community, you can join one of the racing teams that's going to sign up for the 24-hour and the other Crux Cup races too.
Awesome. I really hope if I had to let's see, 10 teams. Who do I hope's there? I mean, there'll be Sanguis Luna. I hope Black Star's there. I hope XGR's got a team. Frontier should have a team. Yeah. What's the team? Oh my goodness, I feel so bad I forgot his name right now. Just started a team. Billboy.
Yeah, who was that?
there's Turbor that might be there as well.
Turbor. Yeah, Turbor. Hopefully they have a team out there. I mean, I hope we have all the big. I hope.
I mean, CIG have been
Fire
coming to the
racing will
Crux
be
Cups,
there
right?
too.
Maybe
XGR
CIG
have a team
themselves
too.
will come in.
And CIG, yeah.
Yeah, CIG
Wow,
and
yeah,
Sire.
that'd be cool.
Both good. That'd be great. Yeah, if you can get CIG to put a full 6-man, that'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
This actually
They have done it
comes
before.
into one of the questions that I really wanted to ask you, Echo. Is that how do you deal with the struggles of having team-based events, right? Because one of the biggest not issues, but I guess hurdles that some people might face is that Crux Cup is a team-based event, and the way that the scoring system works is that the person who places the highest will basically score for the team, right? So if I'm a new player who maybe I'm not part of a racing team, we just have a friend that we like to play, but at the same time I kind of want to be competitive. What are the things that ANZIA considers when they create these team-based races that allow people like try to find a team, but if not, you can still do this, with just a group of friends? Because I do think, especially if the 24 hours starts becoming a more regular thing as well, as we said, it's very much a competitive kind of event where you want to have an actual racing team. So basically, I guess the question is, like how does ANZIA push for racing teams to form so they can be available for these kind of events?
Yeah, so I always say join an organization or go to XGR to a racing school to find friends that you mesh well with, mates, organizations that you like, and say, hey, I'm interested in racing. Do you have a racing team? Or is anyone on XGR able to, help me out and induct me into a racing team? Because ANZIA Racing is very focused on, large scale, great racing team. Not too large scale, like there's amateur racing, so just 2 people with the open GP. So if you're new to racing, you just want to race your favorite ship or try it out, just come to the open GP. Give that a try with you and a friend or someone you meet in an organization or in the racing school like XGR. And once you get familiar with that, or if you feel like you're really confident and just want to go straight into racing your razor, come into Pro GP. That again is for you and a friend to sign up to. So everything is staged and scale and difficulty. So we've got multiple racing classes for amateur racers, pro racers, and now we're adding an organization scale racing event, the 24-hour Crux Cup. So yeah, doesn't matter what scale you're at, there's always a race and a racing class for you.
Nice. Because yeah, like you mentioned, go to XGR and join the racing schools, and just so you can join the community. Because yeah, I think XGR is pretty much the hub for the individual racer, right? Most of the exhibitions and most of XGR is known for the Division Racing League as well, which is very focused on the individual, which is very good, obviously, for personal growth. But when I see the experience that we have with Sanguis Luna, that we are available for each other as a team, we have the support, we have the race engineers and stuff like that. It's such a different dynamic practicing on your own and practicing with a team. That XGR recently, actually during the Nino Cup, they tried to push this as well, as like join as a team, because it's much easier to do well with a team, because if one struggles, the other one can compensate if that's the case. And they've even recently opened up a recruitment channel as well for the people who actually want to open a racing team or want to join a racing team can find those, which I think is super important if I guess if you want to take racing seriously. But at the same time, racing is kind of a niche within Star Citizen. You don't there's very few people who take it really seriously. Like, I don't imagine the majority of us are anywhere near the majority of people who do racing. But I do think that the dynamic changes so much when you're in a or at least in an org that has a racing team, right? Like Frontier Consolidated is one of the examples, or even Sanguis Luna and Blackstar, right? They're not racing orgs; they just have a racing team because there's an interest within the org for the team.
Yeah, I think especially long term too. I mean, we'll see more often, like races where you're going to require to have that org backing as things get more expensive in the PU to keep things going. And
True.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know, Echo, if you guys have, because we don't have most of the details for it, but like once there's ships that can be upgraded, and you could have someone with a faster razor, you can't just say, oh yeah, show up with the razor and everyone race with the razor. I mean, do you guys plan on just allowing people
We have a
to
plan
fly
for
whatever
that.
they get?
Yeah. So, like Aurora class in OpenGP is already kind of in the spirit where we have a regulation that's like you only race a ship that can do the same speed. So we'll probably keep that as like tier 1 Auroras only. Yeah. But then we'll do a thing where we have a custom, I don't know, like what do you call it, like a customized or a I'll just call it the tier 5 OpenGP, where we have bring your custom ships, bring everything you've worked hard and crafted on, and bring it to this event. So Pro GP will absolutely be focused on tier 5 customized ships, where we expect racers to bring the best thing they've crafted, the thing they've been working on, their prized dedicated racing ship that I've worked really hard on. That will likely just be straight tier 5 ships. But OpenGP will have a mix where you can bring just tier 1, just a rental tier 1, to be competitive and race at the same speed. But it will also have options like in the open class. We'll probably have a tier 1 class for open and a tier 5 open customization class as well.
Really, really cool. I would actually, I think I would like it if the, what do you call it? The like top tier or like the F1 of SC racing kind of thing becomes like just an open, you craft your ship, and so you need that work backing. I think it'll be interesting. I think we're at like an hour about now.
We are coming close to the end. So firstly, I want
do
to
we wanna
open
take
up
some-
the chat. If they have any questions relating to this kind of topic, by all means, we'll take some questions from the chat if need be. That's something that I
Does
want to
anyone in
mention.
chat
but,
have any
but
questions?
Now I forgot. All right, Billboy, what are your thoughts on the whole team thing? Because I think we each gave an opinion, but you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, teams are going to be a huge thing, I think, going forward with just the complexity of the game increasing. So I think everyone's going to end up needing one. So hopefully it kind of pushes people naturally in that direction. But yeah, I mean, I know that obviously ANZIA with making the larger requirement for teams now in this new Crux Cup, and then yeah, XGR we're having our space to go and post your teams in there and stuff. I think that people will find teams. As if people go in and decide they want to be serious about it and they want to be competitive, they'll figure it out. And I think that we've got people who are pushing to get those teams available for people. So I think it'll work itself out. But yeah, we're just in that stage where I think we're just getting to the point where teams are going to become almost a requirement if you really want to be competitive. So yeah, I think that the floodgates will maybe open eventually, where all of a sudden some of those like racers who are right on the edge of being really good and want to move to the next level, they might start asking around for where they can join to really push themselves. So I think it's a good thing.
Dirk made a really good
work itself out.
point when it comes to having to be able to craft the ships. Right, racing naturally is a very destructive kind of, let's call it, sport. Ships blow up left, right, and center, right? So, and if claiming them or if there's any kind of degradation that happens to the ships, then you're gonna need quite a regular flow of ships to be crafted. And if you're not someone who can spend 8 to 10 hours a day on Star Citizen, and you use that 1 to 2 hours of game time to practice, then you're gonna need an org to be able to, if not sponsor the ship straight out, help you in crafting them. So naturally, you're gonna get that team vibe anyways. So yeah, I think that's a very good point, that the teams will naturally form for those who are actually interested, for those orgs who are interested in these team-based activities. So yeah, it's exciting.
While we're waiting to see if anyone throws any questions in the chat, I guess I have a last just long-term question for Echobit. What's your most anticipated feature in either near future or distant future for the game?
Yeah, I touched on that. Crafting for sure. Base building, of course, will also be important to ANZIA racing. We will want to create custom community racetracks out of space stations. Anything that we get our hands on will be turned into a checkpoint, you can guarantee that. I'm looking forward to pyro racing, actually. This year, we're going to try some different things at ANZIA racing. I can't say what those are, but we will utilize the server tech, we'll utilize the lawless space that we have, and we'll try and use this technology in a unique way, which I don't think anyone's done before. So I'm excited to talk about that post-Crux Cup and our plans for racing in pyro.
Yeah,
we
sounds
did
really
have
exciting.
a question earlier. Numinos asked any plans for pyro tracks. I think this is before Echo jumped in too. I know that I don't think there's any very specific plans for it, but yeah, like Echo says, I think you guys are planning on at least having a race event at some point this year happening in pyro, right?
Absolutely. I was really determined to be the first person to release a racetrack in pyro. I've released Saccharins Coast, which is a ground race between Corliss Beach and Saccharins Plot. Really beautiful place on pyro for Highly recommend it. 15 kilometers is not far. You can see both outposts as you fly in. You just follow the coastline to get from one outpost to the other. It's up on SCA.gg if you want to place the time trial or get some racing done in Pyro. And yeah, ship tracks will also be on the way. But I want to build up a series of ground rally legs and need at least one endurance ship racing track in Pyro for stuff we want to do this year.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Do we have any other? I guess we'll leave it open to chat if there's any other questions. But we haven't really gotten any others, and we are getting close to our time anyways. We can give it a second though to see if someone has something.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to ask, I think I said that for a lot of the questions. I'm sorry. Something that actually I mentioned a few minutes ago. It's when you have these team-based races, the scoring more often than not is nice one, Echo. The scoring is generally the person who comes first takes the score. Why do you decide to do that rather than what is kind of like the Formula One team standings things, where you grab both individuals' placements and add them together for the team score? Like, is there a particular reason that you target for that format?
Yeah, mostly the game has been fighting us all this time to impose that system. Right now, we just use another team member to support your overall racing team so that you can survive an in-game crash, but also a crash to desktop or something more devastating like an emergency in real life, those sorts of things. We might scale up our point system where we do score 2 races together, but it will depend on the stability of the game because we want, if we do say we're scoring 2 races, we want the game to be really stable so that it supports it really well, so that it's just crashes in the game and not anything outside the game or crashing to desktop. If we can get to that level, then we can change how we score that. It's been on our minds as well, but right now it's just to support getting a team over the line during the Star Citizen Alpha.
Makes sense, right? And I guess there's also an element of some teams end up only having one racer, so it's kind of like a balancing act of, only one person will end up bringing the score to balance out against those one-person teams.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we've changed what we're doing this year, and actually as a step towards that sort of thing, we're requiring two team members when you sign up to the Crux Cup. No longer can you sign up solo. There is a solo race, the Luxury GP, because it's just a fun race. But our professional team-based races are now hard requirement 2 team members you need to sign up with. And that will become the standard going forward. And then as the game gets more stable, we can then score both of those team members.
Awesome. Looking forward to that, to be honest, because I do think that obviously I understand the reason why you're doing the one-person scoring thing, but I do think it adds that extra element of teamwork when both racers will actually affect the overall score. Just adds that element of confidence.
I completely agree. Yeah, I want to go in that direction. We're just going to wait for the game to become stable and for, for things to get better on the alpha, and then I think we'll be okay, and then we can do stuff like that. Also, yeah, regulation changes like this year, requiring 2 races is an important step towards that, because then we're guaranteeing all organizations and race teams bring team members, no one signing up solo, then we can really lock in and say, yeah, let's switch to scoring them both.
Nice. Are you okay, Bill Boy? You're having issues with your camera, I think, right?
I don't know what's going on over here.
Keeps disappearing. Yeah,
Bill Boy
DNF.
DNF.
Oh,
I
boy,
mean, that's okay.
DNF.
I think we're good anyways. I think we're at our...
I think that's about all the time I think we have for today. Thank you so much, Echo, for being our very first guest on our podcast. Actually, yeah, I think everything went rather
You're
smoothly.
welcome.
If I
Thank
do
you
say
for having
so.
me, and support racing. Support these boys. Go like, share this video, subscribe, all of that love. It helps a lot. And then, yeah, if you are interested, check out their racing teams, check out organizations. If you're in an organization already, ask if they have a racing team or if they'd be interested in starting one. Yeah, I'd love to see you there. Thank you for supporting us.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining Echo once again, and for everything that you do with ANZIA. Like ANZIA is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, a top dog when it comes to the impact that it has on the racing community. So thank you for everything you and the whole team does. Please, where can people find you if they're not already followed for whatever reason?
Yep, so ANZIARacing.com or just ANZIA Racing Twitch channel. Myself personally is Echobit everywhere as a handle if you need to find me. I also stream on Twitch too. Yeah, lately I've been doing some pyro scouting, so I hope to see you there.
Awesome.
This works. Okay.
Yeah, you're a
We'll
major
do
part
that
of, like,
instead.
you're a major part of like everything in Star Citizen Racing for sure. It's pretty cool, and ANZIA is a huge stable, so it's cool to have you on and chat with you about that stuff.
Yeah, it's only better because you're all there, so thank you for coming to these races persistently. I love having you.
Great, they're a great time. They're a great time. All right, well, thanks everyone for watching.
Beautiful. Yep. Thank you everyone for joining our first live one. I appreciate everyone joining in and chatting in the comments or chatting in the chat. Apologize, we weren't really reading through the chat as part of the podcast because I guess I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, we're gonna be doing this live on the XGR Twitch channel going forward. So excuse the noobness. We'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, and I also think that we've agreed that we're gonna be doing this a bit more regularly. So expect more of these coming out in a shorter time frame, because our first two episodes were quite stretched apart, even this one. So going forward, we're definitely going to be keeping a tighter schedule. So look forward to that. I see DJT said, missed the beginning. Do we get the replay? So yeah, so you can obviously check the VOD on this channel, but I'm also going to be uploading it on my on the full podcast playlist on my YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed there, please subscribe to that. I have the first two episodes, and every single podcast is going to be saved on that playlist within my channel. So I'll be going through the recording, making sure everything's fine, adjust the audio if need be, and I'll be posting it latest tomorrow, I think. So tomorrow Central European, because it's almost midnight here. So yeah. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, thank you Echobit for coming on. Don't know if Dernka Billboy has any final words before we close off.
No, I think I'm good.
No.
No,
Yeah.
perfect. All right.
Hopefully
See you
get more
later,
news.
everybody.
Hopefully get more news next week when when CIG gets back. We'll have some more news to talk about. Hopefully they tell us some new information. We'll have something.
True.
Something to
And
do, get some races in the pipeline. And
hell yeah. And also keep an eye out for ANZIA's Discord, because they're gonna be releasing some awesome Crux Cup news tomorrow. Am I right? I think it's tomorrow,
I
right?
think the next
Hell yeah.
we'll have Daymar Rally results too, because ideally if we have the same schedule that we're looking that we want to have, we'll be recording the next episode the day after Daymar Rally. So
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be still awake, because yeah, I'm gonna be taking part in the truck division. So hopefully
Good luck.
everything goes smoothly, and
Good luck.
thank you. I'm gonna be running support though, so I'll let my drivers be the champs. So, but yeah,
SCR podcast live from the Daymar rally.
yeah, I'm just multitasking.
it's still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, positive thoughts. Everything's gonna go great. All right. Well,
All right.
thank you
Thanks,
guys so
everybody.
much, and we'll catch you all on the
Cheers,
next
everyone.
one.
Bye bye.